We are recording.
Okay.
All right. So this is an evening edition of the Civil Rights Enforcement U podcast. Um, Anything that is said here that I say is of my own volition and not in respect to anybody else uh, and their thoughts and desires. So I have to make that announcement that it's just me. So anyway, if we all would go around, I'm Charles Bryson. If we would go around and introduce ourselves, um, and other than Kelly, please let me know your age.
So I guess I'll get into it. Hello everyone. I'm Kelly McGowan, born and raised St. Louis, and I'm 30 plus. And I'm just really here to just really speak to y'all to see what to hear what you have to say. I think us as adults, we kind of talk and talk and talk, and we don't really provide that space to hear what y'all think about things and what you care about. So I'm just here for the conversation.
Who's next?
How you doing? My name is Caleb McNeil. I'm 18. I was born in St. Louis and raised in St. Louis, but I mostly moved around a lot. But I settled in Dutchtown. I've been here for the past 6 or 7 years.
All right. Who's next?
I'll go next. My name is Acacia McLucas, and I am 19 years old. And like Paula, I was born and raised in St. Louis.
All right. Jacoby, I guess you're next. Well, because we have Eric here. So, Jacoby?
Yes, my name is Jacoby. I'm 20 years old, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, resident of the Greaterville neighborhood, been here my whole life. And yeah,
All right. And we have Eric Stiller. Eric, how are you?
Great, Acacia, you made it. I was just coming back in to check. And then the only one we're missing is Louis Meyer, but he may not be able to attend
Okay.
because he does work. But I'm going to keep trying.
Okay.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you guys for your patience. Sorry about the confusion.
Oh, no, no, no. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
Eric, how are you? Eric? Where do you go?
It's actually it's Pamela McLucas. I'm just
Oh.
a guest.
Hi, Pamela. Okay. So anything you say here is kind of what we want to hear. And I know you all are participants in some very good programs, but we just want to get a sense of and hear from you about your day-to-day activity, how you see the neighborhood you live in, the block you live in, the neighborhood you live in, and the city of St. Louis in total. So we're going to string through some questions, but you know, uh, I just really want to hear what you all and Kelly wants to hear what you all have to say. So I guess the best first question is here. We'll do it this way: on a scale of 1 to 7, 1 being low, 7 being high, how would you rate the neighborhood you live in?
Like a 6.
Caleb has a 6. Jacoby?
I would give my neighborhood a 3.
Akeisha?
I'm so sorry. For my neighborhood, I would give it a 2 rating.
All right, so let's go back through. Why do you feel that way?
Because
What are the things that make it a 2, a 3, and a 6?
I'll go first if I may. With the block that I live on, it's not very safe, especially since there's children in this neighborhood. And that's not a good trait to have in a neighborhood because with neighborhoods, they're supposed to be safe for everybody, young and old.
I gave my neighborhood a 6. Because like all neighborhoods, there is bad things that happen. In this particular neighborhood, there's a lot of good things that happen. And one of those good things being happen is community groups like Dutchtown. we make a big positive impact on things that happen in our communities. Besides all the violence and all the gunshots, my neighborhood, and I'm pretty sure all you guys in the neighborhood I think, are a good fit. That's why I give my neighborhood a 6.
Jacoby?
Yes, I rated I rated my neighborhood as a 3 because I can say that the street that I live on, I feel safe. Been here my whole life, but the specific neighborhood, the Greater Ville, it has seen a massive decline in throughout the past 40 years. Like we were once the most flourishing black neighborhoods in St. Louis City. Hey, we have Homer G. Phillips, we have Sumner High School, we have Farragut Elementary School, we have
You froze, Jacoby.
Jacoby.
I think he froze for a second. Um, uh, uh, Akeisha, I want to go back to you and the issue of safety. How do you define safety uh, in your thought pattern?
Could you repeat the question again? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
How do you define safety in your as you view it? What is you said very specifically unsafe. Why is it unsafe? How do you feel it being unsafe?
Because I'm near the McMillan block, and it's no, to my family at least, we often hear like shootouts happen, and that's very dangerous because there's a lot of kids, and that's just not a good trait to have. In my way, having a safe neighborhood is that you can be out all day and not feel the sudden like chill that like something might happen to you, or you can just go anywhere without feeling like your life is in danger at all.
So you don't feel comfortable being outside on a regular basis.
Most of the times, yes.
Caleb, you didn't mention, you sort of mentioned safety, but you mentioned in context of, but I've got this great neighborhood institution that I participate in. Does that mean is that where you're there most of the time, and so that's your safety net?
Well, I'm really not here all the time, but I don't feel safe when I walk out the house, but that's everywhere. It's either outside my community, I'm not gonna feel safe. Anything can happen. I try not to focus on that. And when I do come, around my neighborhood, there's a lot of things that happen. People die here, people get shot. I've been in a lot of car accidents, I've been in a lot of shootouts, but God has kept me alive for a reason. And I don't think He would want me to having a mindset coming outside, or this might be the day I get shot, or this might be the day something happens to me. I don't focus on that. I try to move forward and focus on the positive.
So when you come out of the house, you're like, hey, world, it's just me. So let's go do it.
If the world got a problem with it, let the world come face me. But I try to stay positive with things like that. I saw my cousin get killed right in front of me, down the street from my house. So I would say my neighborhood is dangerous, but my neighborhood has a lot of things. We have a lot of programs going here for kids, get them out of the streets. We try to put different opportunities for people or different opportunities for kids that are actually in that kind of heat or in that kind of trouble. So the more kids we touch, pretty less problems we have with that kind of thing.
Kelly?
Wow. Well, first off, thanks for sharing that from both of you all with what you experience in your communities and what you experience in your immediate neighborhoods. I guess the question that I have, and I know Caleb spoke to this, but I'm just curious to know, like we talked about, maybe some of the concerns that folks have, but what are some strengths? Like, what do you view as some positive resources, nuggets, hidden gems in your respective neighborhoods and communities? And I know, Caleb, you kind of hit on some of that. But yeah, so I would be curious to hear that from both of you guys.
I would like to go first. With my neighborhood, despite everything I said before, we have neighbors that really, really care for us and they practically adopted us as family. Like one of our next door neighbors, she gives us food. She's like, okay, I got some for the kids. It's not for you. But she'll give us food whenever she gives us the chance to. And that's been such a blessing for us. It's like I have another grandmother, and there's people out even outside our neighborhoods that are very welcoming of us, and they've adopted us as family too. Like our church members adopted us into their family, and it's very heartwarming to know that we're always welcome wherever we go, and that there are people who actually care for us and love us, and they thrive for our being to be well.
And is your church, is it in your neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, technically it's in Central West, relatively close. Excuse me, I muted myself by accident.
No worries, but I mean, that's awesome to hear that there is a sense, you have a sense of community there. And I think that's huge. And that's really important when we're talking about like, our communities and our neighborhoods. I don't know, Caleb, you mentioned some of the supports and different resources and opportunities. Can you speak to that a little bit more?
Just like Time is Done, there's like 5 or 6 other different types of groups that I'm aware of that are currently in my community. The biggest one that I participate at and the biggest one that I've been with for the longest is the YMCA team leaders and the Southside Youth Council, which are currently Southside Youth Council is currently at Time is Done. And those are the 2 biggest places that I'm mostly be entertained with. But I really like the Southside Youth Council because that really focus on more kids like closer in my area, closer where I live at. Cronolette is pretty far. Cronolette has their own good things going on, but I really do like the Time is Done because I feel like the Time is Done is more in depth with the community. Like they do more for the community. I seen them pick up stray cats, take care of them. The YMCA don't do that. Like I never seen somebody that does that. Take cats out the street. Maybe smell like all cat litter in here sometimes, poop and pee, but you get used to it, and it be a doozy sometimes. But I love saying that, and I love seeing how some little people can do so much for a lot of kids, and it's crazy. But the YMCA is also a good place because not only do we do fundraisers and take care of other people's kids for one night because they decide they don't want their kids for that night. We do a lot for different kids and different races. We are very diverse where I come from. There's Asian people or Chinese people. I think that would be the better word to say. We have Arab or what's the good word for that?
You're fine.
Yeah,
We-
we got whites, blacks. I'm German. We'll have German. So, fun fact: if you didn't know this about Dutchtown, I didn't find this out today. Dutchtown was a German settlement in the mid 19th century,
Mhm.
and that was a coincidence because if I tell my mom that, she's gonna be happy. Probably a cake first time ever. But yeah, I like my dad. I like the community. And like I said, besides all the other stuff that goes on, it's a pretty uptight community.
Jacoby, welcome back. I think Kelly has a question still.
Yeah, Jacoby, I know, we were just speaking to, the way that you guys ranked your neighborhoods and your communities. But we just really wanted to uplift, because it isn't all bad. You didn't rank it a 0. So what are some positive things? What is it that you like the most about your community, your neighborhood?
I would definitely say the history of the Ville neighborhoods, um, just the history of fluent African Americans that came out and done amazing things throughout history and contributed to our society in American history. And I can say that over here, people are definitely family oriented and always look out for each other.
Do people, when you walk down the street, this is for all of you, when you walk down the street, do people say hi, hello, wave, smile? What are the reactions on your block and in your neighborhood as you traverse the sidewalk? What do people do? How do they interact?
It's mostly waves, hellos, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Mainly positive greetings when I'm with my family and we're out.
When I walk around my neighborhood, it's mostly good vibes. If I speak to someone, most of the time they speak back. I rarely get that look. That long look. That's really good. But besides all that, mostly everybody's cheerful.
I would have to say, um, for my experience with knowing people on the specific block that I live on, we all know each other. We all speak to each other um, frequently every day. I always see my neighbors. I always greet them, and we always have a conversation, probably a 5-minute conversation after we greet each other.
So I'm I'll make an assumption, correct me if I'm wrong, that you all are thinking about going to college. If that's true, are you thinking about going away from St. Louis, one, and are you thinking about going away from Missouri, two?
I'm actually in college right now, and I'm going to college here in Missouri, and I'm a sophomore. And have I thought about going away to college in another state? Not really, but I have considered it a couple of times in the back of my head.
Is
Yeah,
it because you wanted to, hold on, is it because you want to stay here?
It was mainly because I was like, okay, I want a change of scene. Maybe I'll go to college in another state, see what that's like, and then like come back home. And then I'll decide when I'm ready if I want to move to another state or not.
Thank you. Caleb?
You're welcome.
I was thinking about going to school, but the schools that I want to go to and the things I want to do, it do cost a lot. So if I do go to school, it's going to be going to the military, and hopefully I would leave. But currently, I'm getting my GED from the Thomas Dunn Learning Center. One of the perks of being in this fine community, they have adult center education, so close to the crib, so close to home. Yeah, I do want to go to college, but I don't really want to go back to school for real. I had a lot of problems going to school. That's one of the main reasons why I dropped out. Going having family issues and all that, and it just wasn't a. It was a bad experience for me going to school.
Okay.
Look, like Paula took a liking to me. She told me a lot about school and told me things. Told me best things would be best for me for school.
So you're currently going to Thomas Dunn. You're thinking about leaving and going away, but not quite sure.
I haven't put my foot down. But if I do go to school, it's gonna be to the military, and I want to go to school for bioengineering or bioscience.
Okay.
It takes me right for God.
Okay. Jacoby?
So yes, I'm actually at Fontbonne University. This is my first year of college, and before COVID-19 actually took a hit in our country, I've always thought about going away for college and experiencing a new scenery, experiencing new people, a new state. But I can say definitely with the prices of tuition and out of state tuition in different states. Oh yeah, that was a big financial problem, and I just decided to stay here locally in St. Louis because I'm also politically involved with local politics here and also community involvement.
Now, I think before I let Kelly jump in, um, Jacoby and um, Aprecia, did you both um, ask questions of the mayoral candidates?
Yes, we did.
How, how was that experience for you all?
For me, it was a
Now,
great experience.
please, without talking about the specific candidate, but in general, how was that experience for you all?
It was actually a great experience discussing local issues here in the city of St. Louis with the four mayoral candidates before yesterday's election. I can say that I've learned a lot from each of them, and there goes in their desires for a new St. Louis and how we can envision a new St. Louis for the future and future generations.
Yes, it was very nice talking to the mayoral candidates because, and the fact that they've given youth panelists, they even had youth panelists. That's a very good step to take in order to better a city that needs betterment because they're giving youth a chance to sit at the grown up table, if you will, to speak their voices about what needs to change and then listening and seeing the results of that conversation into our new system.
Kelly?
So, well, Charles already kind of he asked this, but I'm gonna ask it a little bit differently. Um, do you see yourselves like staying in St. Louis, like after you finish your schooling, whatever that looks like long term? I know you guys are a little younger than me, but do you see yourselves kind of settling down here when you get to be my age? Or do you envision seeing yourselves leaving the area?
I've thought about moving from Missouri later on in life, like you said, but not right now with me being in school and that I need to be able to support myself financially and with real estate and all of that. And then I was like, okay, if I want to move states, where am I going to go? Am I going to go to a state I haven't been to, or do I want to go to another state where I know people like family? So I'm still giving it thought.
I hear you. And then to a follow-up here. You said again, you're thinking maybe when you get to be my age, potentially leaving the state. is it for a change of scenery or is it for some other reason, as far as like exploring other opportunities that you feel like you might not be able to be able to have here living in St. Louis? Or what, is it just a change of scenery, or you feel like you could kind of explore more opportunities elsewhere?
It's mainly a change of scenery because it's like, yeah, St. Louis is nice, but what are the other cities like? And
Mhm.
maybe there could be more potential opportunities for me in the future in another state. Whereas if I stayed and then I get the opportunity, it's like, do I stay here or do I go? And if I don't go, I'll probably lose it, and I don't want that. And I want to be able to step out of my comfort zone because there's more to a state than just what you've known, and there's some things that are unknown that you need to know. So yeah.
And so for, yeah, go ahead, Jacoby. Yeah.
Really, I haven't really took into consideration of moving to another state because I'm very politically involved. So it's like, hey, I could maybe run for office maybe in the near future in St. Louis City and maybe the state of Missouri if I go that far. But visiting when I went to visit the state of Washington in January, yes, I could definitely say that the scenery there is totally different from how St. Louis is. So um, it made me think, oh, if by the time I get to an older age, I will probably want to own a vacation home and use that to go whenever I want to go out to the West Coast.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Um, up to me. But I do plan on leaving St. Louis anytime soon. Hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years. Um, Part of me is I really don't want to leave because my mom said she was left staying, but she has two businesses, and I currently have a business. She's based she's based her businesses in St. Louis, so not based my business off St. Louis, but the world is big. The world has a lot of knowledge, and me personally, I want to obtain enough knowledge or any knowledge as possible. I don't want to be settled.
So, okay, last question before, because I know Charles, he's got some stuff over there. But do you believe that you can be successful living in St. Louis?
Yeah, I believe I can be successful. Yeah, that's St. Louis is a big place. There's a lot of things to do in St. Louis. If you put your mind to it, you can make money. I don't personally. I think it's best not to work with someone. I believe I should make my own money or have my own businesses. I encourage all youths and all people my age to find a hobby, find something that you really like, find something that you know you're good at, and make a business out of it. That's you can mow lawn, have a business, Jacoby's lawn services, or something like that. And you can make money anywhere. If you want to base it in St. Louis, you can. And I know I can do a lot with that and where I'm from.
Keisha?
Yes, I can definitely be successful if I was based in St. Louis and I'm like, hey, I lived in St. Louis and that can help build up what I'm working towards. Because it's like, you mentioned you're from St. Louis and it's like, oh yeah, they have a lot of well known places here that helped build these well known artists or musicians. And that's really good if you want to like build up to what career you want.
Okay.
I would say that it's definitely hard for people our skin colors to have an opportunity to building ourselves up. Here in St. Louis City, we're still a hyper segregated city. It's hard, excuse me, it's hard for people who live north of Delmar to make it out of there. They have you have to work 10 times harder to build your wealth and to get out of poverty. So it it's definitely hard for those that are other ethnicities.
So I guess the because both all of you all live in areas that are um, to some degree African American. I think Caleb makes the point that on the south side where he lives, there's a lot of other people who live there, and that's been true for a while. But so my question kind of is, um, do you think that your voice is being heard to address the issues, or how can your voice be heard to address the issues in your particular community or neighborhood, I should say?
Like my voice could be heard more if we like figure out ways to tell youth that it's okay to come to these kinds of things and to speak their minds without judgment or shame or being like, oh, you're just young, you'll understand when you're older. Because I feel like, because youth, we're known for our energy, we're known for being passionate about what we do. But when we try to bring passion to what we love, there's always going to be a majority that's like, look, you're young, you don't quite understand what you're doing, and that just be like, take a step back. But my voice could be heard more if we could like tell the youth that it's okay to say what's on your mind. We won't judge you. We're here for you and with you, and that you have no right to, you don't have to be afraid of being shot down for what you want, how to live your life. So that's how I feel my voice could be heard more in my city or my neighborhood at least.
Are there other people? I'm going to stay with you for a minute. Are there other youth that you believe, if there was an avenue for them to get involved um, in community, I'm not going to define it, but involved in the community, do you think they would be willing if they felt like they would be well received?
So can you repeat that question again?
Do you feel like you could get more people of your age involved in the community if they felt like they were going to be well received and treated right, treated fairly?
I really don't think that is the biggest problem. The biggest problem is if they want to listen. You know, a lot of kids my age, they really don't listen. All you tell them, bro, tell them about this community service group that I feel that you would be a good fit for. You know, they really have to know what that community service is. They're not gonna just walk in and sunshines and things like they don't know anything about it. So I feel like if they don't know anything about it or didn't feel like that is a good fit for them, they're not gonna do it. But if we get more community, we get more kids and more youth, you know, really physically active in these kind of things, I feel like the word would be spread more. They just have to be willing to do that.
What age should we, as older people, I'm not counting Kelly in that, at what age should we start tapping youth to get them involved so that they feel it's okay? Is it 10, 7, 5? What is the age? that we should say, let's try and find a way to get you involved?
You really have to start at a young age with involving the youth it because once they get older, it's very hard to attract youth to specific community involvement projects because one that's not their interest at the age they want to do other activities such as hey sports 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 gaming, um, being on electronics. So str- you have to really hit the mindset at a specific young age. For example, just like me, I've never thought that I would ever go into politics, but I can say that my mother, she really built me up at a young age to, hey, care about your community. Because shoot, I remember being at the ages of, I would say, 8 to 10 with attending alley cleanups here on Sullivan and actually showing, oh, this this is what this is what we as a neighborhood should do. We should care about the alleys that we live in because people illegally dump trash is building up, and hey, that's a health hazardous because rodents can soon come and live in the surrounding area. So I would say you really have to strike at the young age of children.
Keisha?
Yes, like Jacoby said, we should really start them young because the younger you start them, the more of an influence it has on how they view politics in life. I remember I was in I was probably in first or second grade, and I did a Saturday school where we would have some of the kids who wanted to come in, and we did these little protest videos about what we wanted for our neighborhoods that would make them safer. And with that group, it helped me realize that like I thought my neighborhood was cool, but like seeing all the problems as I get older, it's like, yeah, now I fully understand. And then we don't have to force it on those who don't want to, but for those who do, we can be like, okay, this is the first step, and now you can move on to your next step. Where do you go from here? Do you go to City Hall? Do you want to do like few protests? Like, what do you want to do? So, starting young is really a good time.
So I've got a question. Um, and again, I know Caleb was just saying how, folks maybe a little bit older, they're not checking for it, so they're not going to listen to certain things. But let's say that we're not able to catch our youth at that young age for whatever reason, and we're really just trying to, engage with folks you guys' age range, right? What do you think would be an effective way to kind of get people to um, become engaged in their community and issues that impact their communities?
With my age group, because I'm still technically a teen, but then after April, I won't be 19 anymore. There are there are a few there are some college kids that do actively participate in their civic duties for politics. Like we at STLCC, we have a student government we have kind of a student council. I don't remember how to exactly say it, but it's student council, but it's all mostly African American representation, and they organize events for school. Like tonight was spoken word, and they encourage us to like join a protest as long as you don't, get out of control, do anything reckless. And we have seminars where we discuss. how politics mainly hit us harder than other ethnic groups. And we even have speakers come to our campus to talk about how politics view us as sort of the bad guys, even though we're not. We're very misunderstood, and no one's really understanding our point of view in our everyday struggles. So we have those. As long as you're not forceful and you're not like, do this, or you're not truly your skin color. It's like not forceful, but as long as you would like to, you can. And there's a lot of participants with it, most of them being younger than me.
I would say to attract people our ages to get involved with politics, you have to slowly build a relationship with the person or people with the group, because hey, when let's talk about minimum wage, everyone, young people love to talk about, hey, I'm about to get this job and we are about to get paid, let's say $10 an hour. Okay. Or let's say someone is making less than that. Okay. If you want to make more money, hey, you need to go. It is time for you to advocate on the state, federal, and local level to raise that minimum wage. That means going door to door to get a petition on the ballot, hey, helping educate voters across the city, the state, about, and across the world, the country, about advocating for a higher minimum wage and wherever you live. And and yeah, just basically those two things.
Caleb?
There's some good points to look at. But like I said earlier, kids know whatever they want to do, they'll do it. They have to be willing to do it. And I've been trying for a long time to get kids my age to do something or take them out of their comfort zone. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I feel like the best way to get kids our age to be more active in their community is, I feel like you have to do something fun, you know, something fun but meaningful. Like at the YMCA, we used to do car washes every Sunday, and it was fun, but we were soaked at the end of the day. But each week we would get some like crazy amount of kids. One time we had like 20 kids washing cars. Sometimes we had 5. You know, but it varied from days to days. Um, Most kids would just come for the fun stuff, but not the community stuff, and that was one of the big problems we had. You know, kids would come to our kids night out. Kids night out was like when we just watch people kids for one night and feed them. And sometimes throw them in the pools, throw dodgeballs at them. And probably send them home with booties because they're some kids. But we did a lot. But it was hard trying to keep kids my age into the program. Most of them stayed, most of them didn't. But the ones that didn't, they just weren't willing to move forward with that community.
Hmm. Let me ask you a question. Um, Name one thing that you think is missing in your neighborhood, and what, who, not as a person, but I guess as a political entity, should be responsible for um, helping put that in your neighborhood.
In my neighborhood, I can definitely say that the leadership in the fourth ward, we lack leadership and we're desperate for new leadership. I can say that I'm not trying to criticize the alderman, the alderwoman, excuse me, but we are continuing to run the same circle and getting nothing done over here. And people and I notice this pattern that over here in the fourth ward that its residents do not even take a stand and do not that much care about what happens on the local level here in the fourth ward. People don't know. People don't know who the committee man or committee woman is, and people do not know who their representative in City Hall is. And it's really embarrassing to see residents not know who represents them in City Hall on here with the alderman.
Caleb?
Can you repeat what you said? I don't have a fully understand.
Maybe. Uh, what do you think is missing in your neighborhood, and who's responsible for helping whatever it is bring it to your neighborhood?
I feel like there's personally, I feel like a lot of things. There could be a lot of things, new things in our community. Things that could have helped me. I feel like when I was going into school, like better mentors. Mentors was a big thing I ain't have going when I was going to school. It was just me and my mom, so it was and my brother. But it was kind of hard trying to find a father figure. I'm not saying I needed one, but it would have been good to have one. You know, I was going to different leagues like Kappa League or other places just to get a mentor, somebody to teach me from restaurants. But I ain't have that growing up, so I had to learn myself. But, yeah, that's one of the things that I wish that was right here. Besides these community groups, but them community groups, I don't like talking to people, and I don't have anybody that's really close to me like that. Um, but yeah, I wish there was a lot of men father figures in this area.
Keisha?
Something missing from my neighborhood that will make this better is, I'm not saying someone who cares just for the young ones, but that cares for everyone. And there are people in our neighborhood that have been like saying that there's something wrong and they're not being listened to, and they've been here longer than I've lived in this neighborhood. Some people have been bringing up issues with their portion of the neighborhood for years, but if someone else, probably maybe younger, maybe slightly older, but not necessarily in the senior range, I feel like they're being listened to more. I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's like we need people who will listen to everyone, not just the young people, but everyone, regardless of the age range. If there's a problem that needs to be fixed, it needs to be fixed. Like, if it's something trivial or something that doesn't really matter, I don't know why. I don't know why that's being taken care of, but that's not the main issue that we're having. Like, I want to live in a neighborhood where I don't have to fear losing a family member or even my own parents to someone, I don't know, God forbid, them getting hurt or killed. I want to live in a mind I want a mindset that I don't want to live in a mindset that I have to constantly live in fear of something happening, or that they don't care about me. So
But when you
if there's some,
let me ask, when you say that, who is the they in
Mhm.
that sentence? When you say they don't care about me, who is the they?
I feel like I feel like the ones that are either the mayor or the representator. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. If there, I'm not really sure how to answer this question honestly, but yeah, I just want everyone to be listened to. And maybe that's something that's missing from my neighborhood.
Hmm.
Kelly?
So in general, just across the board, I know, again, Charles asked about who I guess you feel may be responsible for issues that you may have in your respective neighborhoods. Um, do you guys think those individuals care about your community? And I know, Mr. Keisha, you already kind of you spoke to how you feel like people aren't and again, I'm assuming what you were saying is fine if you didn't know the terms, but our elected officials, our representation, I guess you feel like they don't is it true you said that you feel like they don't care because they're not really listening to folks?
Yes.
So how do you all the other our fellas, do you feel, and I know Jacoby, you kind of spoke to this a little bit as well, but do you all feel like leadership cares, elected officials care about your communities or neighborhoods?
No, not at all. It, with the things that's happening here in the fourth ward,
Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
I think they care to a point.
Can you elaborate? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Like when I came in, the time was done. This is the first time I've seen in a while that the sidewalks would be redone. Not a lot of mayors care about that, right? That is the mayor's position, right? Yeah, that is the mayor's position. Our tax money should be going to those and should be going to our schools and all that. But over the years, our elected officials have been doing that. You know, there's roads. I've been driving these roads for a minute now, and they still been the same. There's a lot of potholes in there. I got into like several car accidents because of the potholes. Now I'm an expert driver, just to let y'all know. I'm an expert driver. So I can maneuver my way around the circumference of using big words now. But I feel like they do care, but not unless they have to.
Mm,
But to a point.
Yeah, to a point. Yeah.
mm. So if you all had the opportunity to speak to that individual, those people that you need to go to, right, to express yourselves, what would you say to them?
I wish they served better food in the cafeteria. I always had a problem with that when I was in school. The bad lunches, I wasn't really messing.
Mhm.
That's one thing I always want to change. But them applesauce cups, those were delicious. And the juices, I used to take everybody's juices.
But you know what, I will say real quick, there is a huge movement around like improving meals for schools. So like for real, there's a thing happening there. Like for real. Like
All you can eat buffet and they stuff. I should have went there. Yeah, I was doing something like that. They had Subway in there, they had Dairy Queen in there. I was impressed. I never saw this forever in my life. We used to see in the cafeteria lady, they got employees. That was crazy.
Now I would probably tell my representative. There will probably be some few words that I can't say on here, but and I'll probably tell her to resign because I just feel that there are elected officials who are in powerful positions in St. Louis City who are there just to work for special interest corporations and continue with the establishment status quo and and do nothing, get no progression done.
Keisha?
I would kind of ask them and then tell them. I would ask them, do you truly understand what you're saying you care for? Do you care about the vacant houses that are still up and it's making our city look like a mess? Do you care about the people who have lost their lives to gun violence or drugs or anything of the latter, and the families that have suffered from it? Do you care about our education system? Do you care about who runs the system? Like, do you truly comprehend all that you're running for, and what do you intend to do about it?
Wow. I need to, that's a word right there.
Yeah, I also wanted to speak. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But I also want to speak. If I was able to speak to the mayor, I would talk more about educational system. Just like a fellow young sister over here, I would pronounce her name, but I do not honestly know. But yeah, I would talk to them about that because I know they did have DSEG a while ago. Personally, for personal experience, that DSEG program did help us out a lot. We were exposed to different county schools, and we have different education. County education is way different than city education. I believe they should work on our education, like provide us with better books or better school building or better teachers, better curriculums, better teachings. Not every teacher teaches the same. I do believe that, but I feel like we should get a chance to know more, learn more about relevant things, like relevant things. I would say, like taxes and all that. Better understand the tax. I wish there was a class that teaches me about that. Not a lot of classes have sex ed or sexual education, but that's one thing as young people. I feel like we should be very protective of more information about.
Another question for all of you, because literally every answer that you provided when I asked you, like, what would you say, man, very powerful. And everything that each of you mentioned is something that I'm a little older than you guys, but these are things that we have discussions about all day, every day, whether it be on social media, or attending Zoom workshops, and virtual activities. I guess the question that I will pose to you all is, what's keeping you from speaking to these folks, whether it be your older people, um, maybe members of the school board and other folks that are like involved in a lot of these larger issues. So what's keeping you from, expressing yourself? Is it because you don't know who to talk to? Or what is it? Time, energy, what is it?
So
Well,
with
I have.
If you haven't
I'm
already
sorry.
talked.
I okay.
Go ahead, Jacoby.
Oh, okay. Well, I have the time and energy to get fired up and talk to
Oh, I'm sorry.
my my representatives.
Serious again here.
But whenever I could say whenever emailing them on the St. Louis City website about the issues that I I'm worried about. Hey, it's like you never hear from them until election time.
Mm.
Like attending attending this groundbreaking here over here in the fourth ward a couple of weeks ago. Hey, the alderwoman was there, committee man, committee woman was there, the St. Louis City President Board of Aldermen, he was supposed to be there, but somehow he couldn't make it. So he sent a representative, and the mayor, she was supposed to be there, but she also sent a representative out too. So it's like, hey, do they really care for us? Or do they just want to work for the special interest?
Who else?
I mean, talking to a mayor or talking to someone like that, I mean, you can send in all the letters you want. I don't think look at it like if you if you were that, if you do want to, if you have a problem that you feel like you need to address like that, and you can't contact the mayor at all, you should most definitely go find out where they live and bang on the door until they answer it. They might call the cops on you, but at least you tried.
Keisha?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
you're
I
right.
think
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
it's all right.
you are right, Caleb, but I do respect the privacy of our elected officials, just like how um, last year, yes, how the current mayor put out controversial, how she put out names of city residents and how that was very controversial. Even though people were protesting in front of her house, hey, it's good that they all care, but I just believe that hey, it's not the right place to protest in front of her house because hey, her neighbors in the Central West End, they didn't run for office, they didn't run for mayor. She did. So to do that, um, respectively, you have to either go down to City Hall and get fired up in her office.
So the question was, what's keeping me from my voice being heard? One thing is that I really don't have the time to like go out or like go to a city hall or anything because I'm a college student. I have homework. I have my family to help take care of, and I have to take care of myself still. And also, I feel like it's with my age and me being a young woman that maybe that could be something that deters my voice. Because, like, oh, she's just complaining. She's just a young woman who doesn't understand the world right now. But I don't want my age and my I don't want my age and my gender to be the reason that my voice gets deterred. Because everyone's voice, whether male, female, or if you don't specify, because all voices are voices, and all of them deserve to be heard. Not just not the young people, not the old people, everybody. And bias in politics, that's already not good. So there needs to be less bias when it comes to people addressing their issues.
Would it help if the city had a youth council? Is the only way I can explain it, where there would be feedback to a group of people on a regular basis that had the direct ear of the mayor, the board of aldermen, and all the elected officials. How would you feel about that? I believe there's some cities that have youth councils. What's your thoughts on that?
Having a youth panel would be fantastic because I feel like we're usually the main ones left out when it comes to these kinds of things because they don't think that we can handle these kind of decisions. But having a youth panel would be great because it gives younger people a chance to speak their mind, no judgment, no bias, no shame, and just having the great feeling that they're not being ignored because of how old they are or how much they know about where they live and who runs the city where they live.
Who else?
Yes, I would definitely be in favor of creating a youth council or youth commission in the mayor's office in the near time future with whoever becomes the new mayor, Treasurer Tashara Jones or Alderwoman Kara Spencer. Because and also I'll be in favor of developing some type of St. Louis youth committee on the Board of Aldermen. I know there's a youth committee with the aldermen on there, but hey, it's just made up of aldermen that are around the ages of maybe 25 to 35, which, hey, yeah, it's considered young, but it's not involving young people like Acacia, Caleb, and I. So it's like, what's the point of having that committee if it's not going to involve younger people who live in St. Louis City?
Okay, really quick. Another point I wanted to add was that when I say youth, I'm not just talking about people who are like in college. I'm talking about high schoolers. And if we could figure out a way for them to cooperate better, maybe even kids, because kids have things on their minds too about where they live. They have fears and things they like and don't like about their neighborhoods, just like we do. They're just as valuable.
Caleb?
I feel like I'm all for having a committee like that. But like I said, if we was to do that, I feel like we need a representative. And what would be the best representative besides the mayor? So if we was to have a committee like that, I would definitely invite the mayor to come out to speak with kids about the politics and about what it means to be in her kind of work or they kind of work, whoever's elected. I want to really know what they think about and what's going through their head when it goes to their job. And I feel like kids our age, if we to do that, we need more knowledge with that to do it properly.
So let me push you on that. So 3 weeks from now, I end up becoming mayor of the city of St. Louis. I call you up and say, Caleb, let's see, July 15th, I'm going to be in your neighborhood to meet with your youth. How many youth can you guarantee me that are going to be at that meeting?
Guarantee. Well, knowing me, because I am a hardworking young man, I would guarantee about 10 to 15 youth. Guaranteeing it would be 10. I know guaranteeing it would be 10. 15, 20, probably pushing it. But
You're going to make it worth my while to be there.
definitely, we're going to make pizzas, have cupcakes if you're into cupcakes.
I like cobbler, but it'll be all right. I'll do it with a cupcake.
I'll make some peach cobbler for you. All right.
There you go. There you go. So, so let's ask the question to the other two.
Mhm.
I tell you, I'm going to be in your neighborhood a certain day, certain time. Give you 30 days notice. How many people can you get to show up?
Does it just have to be youth or can it be other neighbors too?
I want youth. I want youth.
Just youth?
If you telling me that I need to talk to the youth, then you need to help me get the youth there.
So there's definitely me, my brother, my younger sister. I believe one of our neighbors has 2 kids. And there's a neighbor on our block that has a kid, probably around 6 or 7 kids guaranteed.
Of various ages.
Yes.
Jacoby?
I could say that I really don't know many young people around where I live, but hey, if I have to canvass the neighborhood that I live in, shoot, depending on the weather, if it's cold, I'm putting my shoes on, extra layers on, my coat, and I'm going to hit these doors and try to speak with the young people around me.
It is 7:29. We should be ending at 7:30. So I'm going to first of all, let me say thank you all.
Yes.
Being here, for being frank, for being honest. Something I would be interested in doing again. Would like to hear your feedback. I think everybody has my email address. If not, the people who helped you get here have it. Let me know your feedback. Let me know what questions we missed. What didn't we ask that you really wanted to answer? Would love to know that too. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here. I'll let Kelly ask the last question and get us out.
Oh, well, again, I appreciate you guys again being part of this, being honest and open, and really providing some really thoughtful feedback and responses to the questions that I asked. So I guess in closing, I don't know, like what are your thoughts? So moving beyond this, our conversation, what is your like what is your next step? With regards to, again, we talked about a lot of the issues and concerns that y'all had in your respective communities and neighborhoods. We talked about elected officials, whether they care or not, what you would say to them, maybe being a little bit more engaged and involved in certain things. So moving beyond this conversation, what is your next step or action item with regards to, this topic area?
Or what would you like our next step to be? Because I think both Kelly and I are kind of committed to moving this forward as best we can. So it's a double-edged sword. What is your next step, or what would you like our next step to be?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to combine both of us because we can all do this. I feel like the first step is to just bring awareness to what is going on, like sharing this podcast. Well, even if it's recorded online on Facebook Live, either you share it on your stories or you even put it up on YouTube so we can get awareness about what's going on and integrating more people into our cause to better solve problems and come up with quicker solutions.
Thank you. Jacoby?
Basically, my next step is to help get back knocking on doors for the mayoral candidate that I'm working with. That's the next step I'm going to be doing this coming Saturday. Ready to get back on those doors. But I would say with I would say that the major step that we have to do is bring young people into these type of conversations. Hey, that means starting off with small talk. Hey, discussing about the things that they like, what they like to do, basically giving an introduction about ourselves and the person, because that's how you can build a relationship for that person to open up to you and discuss about the issues that we face on the local, state, and federal levels of government.
Thank you. Caleb, take us home.
I would love to put some gas in it real quick. And I feel like what we should do, I feel like we should talk more to people's parents. People don't realize that parents are the game changer when it comes to their kids. Like, I feel like if we reach more parents, there's a lot of parents in my community. You don't see a lot of kids nowadays, but you see a lot of parents, a lot of grandparents, a lot of people that know other kids. I feel like those are the biggest allies we got. Something like that. Reaching out to more kids. You can tell somebody's grandparent, tell somebody at church, or you see somebody in the supermarket, you see some kids that if you feel like need more guidance or can be introduced to something else. I talk to their parents. I talk to parents all the time. And when I'm at work, I get a lot of people's parents coming in, a lot of families coming in. I tell them about this community service. Hey, so and so, I feel like a kid. What I'm saying? It could be a good fit for this. And it's teaching your kid, it's putting them out of their comfort zone, teaching them new things. You know, like I said, it's not just us doing that. It could be you guys, Charles, Kelly, Mr. Bryson. Somebody by last night. I feel like it's disrespectful. I gotta call you by your
It's
last name.
just Charles.
Yeah, I'm gonna make cupcakes for it. Yeah, I feel like we should talk about
Okay. Well,
Okay.
again, thank you all for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Kelly, your last words and thoughts before I uh, hit the stop recording button, and then I'll get this. This will be on Facebook. This will be on YouTube. It'll be on Instagram, maybe Instagram, but it'll certainly be on what's LinkedIn, which is us adults. And then again, any way you want to get a hold of us to say we should have asked this, how can we follow up? I'm certainly willing to do that, and I think Kelly is too.
Sure. I just want to say each one of you all are powerful. Your words have meaning. And I'm telling you, with any adults, you all speak the words that you spoke to us, they will listen to you guys more than they will listen to me. So just really, just be aware that your thoughts, all of the things you spoke to us, they matter, you're important, and your words are very powerful. And each one of you, y'all are powerful. So that's all I got.
All right. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Again, this will be up probably by 8 o'clock, all over the place. And so, you can take it and spread it around to your friends and family as you wish. Appreciate for you all being here this evening.